crypto market is just doing fine. A lot of coins are moving higher. Some of them are popping, breaking higher from a different pattern, short term, medium term, and all. But there is something which I really want you guys to know. Like this is Ether on a daily chart. So on a daily chart here, what we are looking at is a possibility of a bearish divergence starting to form. Now that's not actually good unless we break to the upside. If we break that, that's a different story, because a bear pattern breaking to the upside means we are turning massively bullish. But that's a cautionary signal too, because here for 1,700, 1,800, that was a previous support. Right now, it could be a resistance, and we getting a bearish divergence at resistance does show crazy stuff can actually come into the market. For example, the price tested this. We may come back down towards 1,500 as a retest of this pattern breakout and then bounce. So that can be this, which is being shown as a bearish divergence. Now, why am I saying that? Because as I go to ETH BTC, I see like, okay, the pattern is breaking to the upside. That is bullish. But usually you kind of get a fake out. You kind of get a retest there. That retest is coming in. That's going to be great. And that's what we all want. Now, so XRP is still at the resistance. We haven't broken higher. We're waiting to get that breakout. But if you look at the RSI, it didn't actually give you a huge bullish indicator on a daily. We're still waiting there. Now, the market is showing that it is breaking higher, the altcoin market breaking higher here, retesting and bouncing, then breaking the trend line. Now, there can be a retest because we have a trend line resistance as well as this resistance, support and resistance. So if we break that, that's going nuts. You're going to go 60, 100% soon. And this is a short to medium term setup, not the ultra long term. And you're going to see coins popping right and left. Take that opportunity, because Bitcoin is showing you it can move 16 to 37, 40%, whereas all market in general is going to move 60 to 100%. And as you know, when the market moves 2 or 3%, there are some coins which move like 10, 15, 20%. We have seen that in all our recent trades popping. Why? We entered that, we positioned there, the price dropped a little bit, 5, 10%. We don't care. What we care is taking profits at our target, right? Now, if you want those kind of stuff, you can actually look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family. As we talked about last couple of days, crypto market is swing. We are swinging back up. Now, what are we looking at? Next, inflation announcement. So keep that in mind. From now all the way up to a day or two before the inflation announcement, price may enter a slowdown or a correction that can come. Now, it will depend on what is being announced on that particular day. But, if it's actually good news, meaning the inflation drops, that's great. But most likely, it can be higher. Now, if it's higher, market will anticipate Fed doing another 75 or a 50 basis point hike next time. But that's in September. We have like 50, 55 days for that. In between that, we'll again get another inflation announcement. Now, I have to tell you guys one thing. I'm actually moving. So this audio setup is a different audio setup. So if it's not something like you guys used to listen before, just forgive me for a short while. We'll jump on to the crypto market, because right now it's getting really interesting. You see a lot of stuff happening here, there, but if you are looking at what this guy is giving you as an idea, now this guy doesn't actually give you bad information. He give you his legit information. Now, he can be wrong at some point, but that really is something useful right now. And you see a lot of big companies trying to make more money when the market is down to put in more capital into the market. But you also have to understand these also happen inside this market. So when you put your hard-earned money into that market, you need to make sure that's not going to go bankrupt. You need to make sure that's your risk tolerance, and it's a fundamental asset. If you're a risky guy, yeah, fine, you can go on for a lot of different assets. But if you are low risk to medium risk guy, now you need a lot of fundamental assets in your portfolio. This is one of the best fundamental assets. People may say like this is not going to use this particular item, which is XRP, but right now on-demand liquidity is soaring. The adoption, the usage of this particular asset is increasing on a regular basis. You have a lot of projects in this market where they rarely get any update in month 3 or even like a 6-month gap. But XRP is kind of getting adoption. Every month you get some news, couple of new guys entering into the on-demand liquidity pool, or new corridors being opened, which is being open only because there are demand for that, right? So that is why I'm like, okay, if you are in this market, you need to understand these happen. You need to make sure you own your asset, not someone else, and you're using it for yourself, because people are going in heavy at these price points because they're seeing that the market is potentially reversing. And if it is, you need to be in this market taking that benefit. Now, if Bitcoin is breaking this, a retest is possible. That's all good. That's all great. You may even have a fake out to the downside where you test your 21-day moving average and then bounce. That's so cool. Why? The price here is trending to the side. And at the same time, if you're looking at your RSI, what you see is that your RSI is trending to the downside. That's a short-term bearish divergence, but it's getting supported like that. So it can be a bullish pennant which breaks to the upside. Now, that's all what we actually want. So as it does these kind of stuff, always understand. Now, I'm reiterating this from a long time. I know this, but those of you who are here from that long time, no, we haven't changed what we were saying from a couple of years. At least that's still valid, and at least this is your support where you're bouncing from. So this swing to the upside which you're observing in the market, if you are in the market and looking at last week, you have a lot of coins doing really good, 50%, 100%, 30%. Setting the average, we can call it like around 20, 25% in last 1 week. And there are assets doing 30, 35, 40. That's great. So you need to be in those as it breaks higher. Now, if you're a little bit higher risk tolerant guy, now you're looking for higher risk, higher reward trades. Now, we get those too. But, it depends. If it's too risky, I'm not going to put that in the group. But if it is kind of low to medium risk or a little bit above that, I'm still going to do that. And we do all these call outs and breakouts. And when I enter the trade, I do drop that in the Patreon, right? So you guys are up to date of what I'm doing and why I'm doing that. And I think if you are in this market, what you are right now observing for the Bitcoin dominance is like, okay, we went to that point, but things are changing a little bit. So what is interesting in this market? We do have sellers, we do have buyers. But right now, the buyers are entering heavily because they think it's reversing. And that gives you the ability to see like, okay, where are they entering? Now, this is Bitcoin dominance from a long period of time. And it's trending to the downside. So automatically, you see that alts are going to gain momentum. And when it gains, you have one drop like this, another drop like this, then a small one. So right now, you had one of that, then you're going for the next one. Once you break this support here, which I think is the case which we are going to observe soon on a weekly, you kind of understand that. To get a better understanding, you go to like, a TA chart and see what the price is doing. So zooming in on the RSI here, this is what you're observing. Okay, you were getting supported, you were consistently kind of following this range, and now we're getting close to that. So if you break this to the downside, Bitcoin dominance is about to drop. Now, that's great for anyone who is in the altcoin market, right? So that's why we are like, okay, you have this here, but that can be a short-term retest of this breakout, which is normal, which is healthy. People will take profit. And if you are in trades, just as I informed today, you started some trades a week back. Now we are closing in on our targets. Take your profits. If your target is 30%, even at 28%, that's not bad. If it happens to be like it's 33, fine, take it. That's not bad. So you make sure when there is a huge correction, which we don't know whether it will come, if you are in trades, short to medium term trades, take your profits, because this market may not actually wait for us. And as the market goes up to a resistance and above, a little bit above the moving average, if we get rejected there, we may come back to the moving average. So keep your eyes closed on the 21-day exponential moving average, which that's what I use, and it tends to give you a bit more clarity of what the market is doing, right? So when you actually come on to XRP, now it's like the long scenario for XRP. Yeah, you definitely will have to go on a weekly or monthly chart for that and ask that question to yourself, like, where are we? We are still here at the bottom. So anyone who's saying like, okay, this price is too high to buy, don't buy into that. This one actually shows you like, okay, the highs were $2. Now you're at the bottom. Now you're just starting to bounce. And the long wick which you're getting on weekly is a great indicator for anyone who is interested in this market. Now, why do I say that? You look at this. You came to the support, you are bouncing back, meaning the sellers push the price lower, but buyers were interested in buying this asset from that support and pushing the price back up. And right now you're closing in on a doji where your wick is lower. So buyers are trying to take control here at a time when the weekly MACD is about to cross to the upside, which is a good story, and your 21-day moving average happens to be around 40% above the price. So the price going to retest that moving average is a huge possibility. It can be 0.45, it can be 0.5, but that still is a decent rally from where we are right now. Fine. Now, what you are going to look at is the resistance. Don't say these lines never work, because we have seen this working 90% of the time. So if the price is coming in, sometimes what happens? The price pierces the moving average, go hit the resistance and come down. Get that? That can also happen. And if that happens, you're like going around 80%, 0.6, 0.65, that range. So be prepared for all these price action. And if you're trading this particular asset, understand in the short term, this is a pattern which is evolving, which is descending, broadening wedge, which happens to be bullish. And 1, 2, 3, this is your fourth touch. When you go up, and if you break this one, now that's a different story. The minimum you are looking after the breakout is 60% after the breakout. The maximum you're going to look at is 150% after the breakout. So putting that into perspective, if you reach here and break, around 60% is like $1, and 150% is close to 1.6. Now, that 1.6 can change, because at that point, 4 more can come in. But this in mind, that will also be a strong resistance on a weekly level. You see this? The weekly, even though we went to $2, weekly close was here. We had a lot of selling pressure at that place last time. I think there was a lot of people who were there. So when we go back around 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, a lot of people may get out of this market, because you have a huge inflation and you may need liquidity. And once you're in 10%, 5% profit, a lot of them may move out of this market. That can be something as we discussed last time. Remember, I went through series of whiteboard educational stuff, right? Where we told you like, okay, that is one of the reasons a lot of people don't make a lot of profit. They take profit, but they take it too early. When that trade starts to work, you need to follow that direction of the trade. Otherwise, you don't get the benefit of market moving in the direction which you bet that it's going to move. The market is working. Now, let it be for XRP, let it be for any other assets in your portfolio which is doing great right now. Look at that asset. If that's slowing down at a medium-term resistance, take some of your profits. Maybe 30, maybe 50%, depending upon your risk tolerance level. Because that's how you manage your dry powder. If you don't have any dry powder, do this. That's really great to have some dry powder in case it drops. Now, what if it doesn't drop? It's fine. You are taking 20 to 30% of only one trade in one asset because it reached a resistance. Because you don't really know whether it's going to break higher or come back lower 20, 30%. Because if that happens, you still have dry powder. You're going to buy that same asset because you believe in that asset and it has fundamentals. It's getting volume. It's breaking higher. That's a retest. Fine. Use that opportunity to make that money from the market, because the market is not going to wait for you or me. It's going to go in one direction. And when it is going in that direction, it should be us who take the benefit of that. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're new here, consider subscribing. So I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.